Hello, Caitlin. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Hi, Caitlin. How you doing? Nice talking to you. I'm calling you from
I'm great.
Santiago, Chile.
Awesome.
Hey, let's get to business. You're coming from a decision win against Antonia Shevchenko right after having a tough night fighting her sister. Could you comment about that unique opportunity of fighting both sisters and having disparate results? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about fighting both sisters?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think that it really mattered. A lot of people like asked me, they're like, "Oh, do you feel like you got to revenge your loss?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. They're two totally different fighters." Yeah, it was just the only positive thing. I think that the odd makers in the second fight made me an underdog, and I think that they got confused with the last name because my fight before was like the same last name, so they thought maybe it was the same fight or something. They kept me an underdog, so I think I made a lot of my friends some good money, so that was a good part. But other than that, it's just another fighter.
Hopefully, they bought you dinner.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Well, you're now in a top contender spot, but I read a few days ago that you're contemplating stepping down of the octagon and focus on family. I was wondering how those two concepts live with each other. For instance, you have the drive to compete, but at the same time, you have this wish to start a family. How do you manage to keep those two in line coming into this fight?
Yeah, I've been very like honest with how I feel about what I see in my life in the future, and I think sometimes people take that out of context and say like, "Oh, she's over it. She wants to have kids." It's like, no, I'm just honest with what I see in the future and what I want after fighting, and I think that that's a smart thing to look past it because there is a huge part of my life that is going to happen when the fighting chapter closes. So, I've said before, I'm taking it at this point, trying to get as many fights as I can. I'm getting older, so if I could fight every month, then that's perfect right now. And I said I'm taking one fight at a time, and I think people took that out of context and said that this is my last fight, and that's definitely not. But I'm saying taking it one fight at a time where I'm focused on this fight, and that's where my focus is. And then after that, when I have time off, then you address what's next in your life. So for anyone that thinks I'm halfway out or unmotivated, they clearly don't know me. If I wasn't motivated, I wouldn't be doing this. I definitely don't need to do this. So I'm doing this because I want to, and it's a huge passion of mine.
So it's safe to say that we have Kaling for a while now. We still have some Kaling left. That's awesome
Yeah,
to hear.
absolutely.
Let's talk about the fight. How do you feel you fare up against Andrade? What do you feel are her weaknesses? How do you feel that you will prevail on Saturday?
I think I match up great with Andrade. I mean, it's the typical like long rangey fighter against the aggressive shorter fighter. I mean, we've seen it many times before. I think for Andrade, she's had most of her difficult with either bigger fighters or long rangey strikers, and I'm bigger and taller and longer than any of her opponents. I think I'm 8 inches taller than her. I think that's something that people don't realize, and I think after we get to like the face-offs, they'll realize like how big of a difference 8 inches is. I mean, it's the same. We figured it out. It's the same as if I fought John Jones, so the same height difference. That being said, that's great for boxing and kickboxing, but once you are clinched up, it's a little bit, the height difference doesn't really play into a factor. But I've been a long rangey fighter my whole career, so I mean, this isn't something I just prepared for this fight. This is something I always work on. So I think that her style plays well into my style.
That's great to hear, Caitlin. Best of luck on your fight. Uh, Hopefully, we get to talk to you again soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.